And of course, now the United States has its rather weird version of Francophiles insofar as the Israeli lobby, which is quite the most extraordinary historical phenomenon. I don't know of any historical precedent where a major power has been so successfully manipulated by a very minor power, miles and miles away, so comprehensively. And I know it's money, but perhaps you'd just like to elaborate. How can this have happened?
Well, I would go back and say that you do have an example, certainly in the 20th century, of Serbia that managed to manipulate the Tsar and Tsarist Russia into going to war on its behalf. There was no reason for Russia or Germany to go to war with each other. Quite the contrary. They were each other's top economic partners and trade partners. They were related. Russia in those times, I mean, people don't understand. They say, well, the Tsar was this or that or terrible. From 1900 until 1912, the Tsar actually sentenced 10 people to death. He regularly commuted sentences to terms of prison or banishment to Siberia, but the Tsar was not a bloodthirsty criminal by any means. He was, if anything, compared to the people that followed him, he was a humanitarian. The Russians had no reason to go to war with Serbia, or go to war on behalf of Serbia, and all sorts of things could have been done to avert that disaster, and nobody did it. But anyway, the United States is in a very different situation, and I think you underestimate the extent to which international Jewish capital has gotten control of the British Empire. And it got control really as a result of the Suez Canal. But far more important, actually, than that was the decision by Disraeli to purchase the Suez Canal. In order to make that purchase and pay the French for their canal, he had to go to Lord Rothschild. And all of this, of course, was blessed by Queen Victoria, because she said, obviously, we need the canal. But what happens is that ultimately Lord Rothschild ends up in control of the Bank of England. And controlling the Bank of England gives him enormous power and influence over moving Britain in various directions, and that includes into war in 1914. Remember that the Rothschilds began their history in Frankfurt, Germany. And Churchill, in particular, owes his political survival to Jewish money. He was completely bankrupt, and Jewish interests in London and New York City came to his rescue. And the whole thing was hatched in 1938, 1939 timeframe.